The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for tuning in. We are on location again at Cleveland State University Community College, and we're happy to be here. Thankful they let us use their auditorium for today's show. And we have our first studio audience behind us. Some of the wildlife class guys here that study wildlife at Cleveland State. So this is going to be fun to do this. Miss Mimi Barnes is helping me co-host.
So happy to be here.
Thanks for lining this up.
Fun.
And we have Robert Brewer and Brian Letner. Robert is a teacher here, and Brian works for us. And we're going to learn a lot about these guys today and have a fun conversation. I'm excited.
I know I say teacher, but whoo!
That's what I do in my spare time.
Well, let's start off just by asking them a little bit about themselves.
Sure,
and
yeah.
Robert, we'll start with you, and Brian, we'll end with you on that question. But tell us about yourself.
Okay, name's Robert Brewer. I'm an associate professor here at Cleveland State, also director of the Greg A. Vidal Center for Natural Resources and Conservation here. I grew up loving to run the ridges, fish in the creeks, and I was outside all the time, and ended up at UT getting both a bachelor's and a master's degree in wildlife and fisheries and ecology and evolutionary biology, and then took a broad turn, ended up in retail and this, that, and the other.
Retail?
Retail. I was a manager. They let me in charge. They put me in charge of people to do that. But anyway, I saw this job posting one day, and I applied for it and got it. And I thought, well, if they're crazy enough to hire me, I'm crazy enough to work there. Going on 19 years later now, we have the only 2-year forestry, wildlife, and fisheries program in the state, and one of the most active student chapters of Wildlife Society in the country. So we're doing something right.
That's some years here. I didn't know. I didn't know your longevity here. That's great.
I'm going on 19 years now.
They're lucky to have you.
Well, thank you.
Brian, I know you all over the place, it seems.
Oh, yeah. I've worn many different hats with the agency.
You have. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. I grew up in this area and went to school at University of Tennessee, and came out of there and went to work for TVA for a few years, and then the state come calling. I started out as an officer and worked a couple of different counties. Worked Polk County and Ray County for about 8 years, and then moved over into the boating division and worked as the district boating officer there for about 3 years. And then an opportunity came open in the fishery side, so I worked over there for 7 years as a manager here on Watts Bar, Nickajack, Chickamauga, and Parksville as a manager there, doing data collection and for that, and using that data to turn around and help make steer management decisions. And the manager at UCHI recently retired, and I was fortunate enough to be selected to take his place. I've got some really big shoes to fill in that capacity, but really looking forward to the challenge. And along with UCHI, we've got North Chickamauga WMA, and then a couple of 2 or 3 subunits on Chickamauga, and so we've got a lot of irons in the fire, but it's great. And
Yeah.
really excited.
Talk about being with people that can multitask.
Yeah, he's done it all, hasn't he? Yeah, Brian and I grew up in the same town.
Oh, sure did.
But I've known Brian for a long time. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Talking about the drummer here, he's actually married to my bass player's sister, so
It's a small world.
I see you all over the place. Brian, you and I were just together over at Hiawassee Refuge. They were pulling out a pond liner. Robert, I see you all over the place. You bring students to everything that we do, and we're so grateful, that people are willing to step outside maybe what their normal duties are on one day just to help our agency in different ways. So, number one, thank you. Thanks for all that you do. And Brian, thank you for all that you do for the agency, not just on those WMAs, but everywhere. Robert, tell us about some of the things that you're involved with TWRA and why you bring students with you.
Okay. Well, like I said, I got into this field because I love it. But then I ended up in retail. Now I ended up in the education system. But that doesn't mean I don't want to do it. And also, I saw how much it helped me when I was in school as an undergraduate to get out and work in the field, work with agency personnel, work with graduate students doing work. But I didn't get to do that till I was junior. So I wanted to give that opportunity to these students as freshmen and sophomores, since we're a 2-year school. Well, And also it keeps me young. It keeps me busy. And I always say when they can outrun me one day, then I might quit. But they can't outrun me now. But no, I just love doing the work, and I love working with agency personnel. And when I look at the agency, a lot of them are classmates of mine, so it's great to go back and work with those people I went to school with too. So anything you all will let us do, we'll be out doing it.
Yeah, I've shared earlier, you're like family to us. We see you everywhere, and we get to know the students that you bring along. They hopefully learn something from us. They see our love for what we do too. Tell us about the program here at Cleveland State.
Okay, like I said, we're the only 2-year forestry, wildlife, and fisheries program in the state, and we have a student chapter of the Wildlife Society. We're the only 2-year school in Tennessee that has one of those. And it really started as an official program about 6 years ago. And it went from 4 students at that time to about 76 students now. And we have students that leave here and they go to UTK, they go to Tennessee Tech, they go to Abraham Baldwin down in South Georgia, UT Martin. They go all over the place. And it's been going long enough now that some of these students have actually finished graduate degrees. I've had them working as far away as Alaska and Florida in the field. And actually our new Polk County officer right here is an alumni of Cleveland State. So, but we offer, not just the coursework. We also have the Wildlife Society, which all these students participate in to get all kinds of volunteer hours in and to get all kinds of experience. So when they leave here, they don't just leave with a degree, they leave with a lot of experience. And then we also co-founded the SWAP program, the Student Wildlands Adventure program, with Daryl Radijak, and that has really grown. And
that's a cool program.
I haven't told you what we're doing this year, have I? This year, we didn't get to bring students from out west to Tennessee this year. So instead of skipping them a year and us traveling, we said, why don't we take the students from the west and take the students from Tennessee, and let's all of us go to Yellowstone for a week.
Oh, wow.
And so we're lining up the biologists in that area now to come and lead the field trips for those students so they get to learn about places they may not get to go on their own and do things they won't. But
phenomenal.
So all that is housed here under the Vital Center, the Greg A. Vital Center for Natural Resources Conservation, along with our Ag program, and I'm director of all that.
And people can find you online. If they have questions, they can reach out through the website.
They can reach us through Cleveland State's website and go into the STEM majors, and you'll find the Forestry, Wildlife, Fisheries program. We have 2 Facebook pages. We have it's the Wildlife Society-Cleveland State Student Chapter. Then we have a Student Wildlands Adventure Program Facebook page, and they can go on there and they can follow everything we're doing.
Wow.
So the 2 of you haven't worked together yet, but now that you're on the wildlife side of things on the WMAs, then I could see you 2 connecting here before too long.
Oh, definitely. It's coming up real soon.
I'm sure you could use some volunteers, right?
So Brian, you're new on those WMAs, and like you said, you had big shoes to fill, but you'll make your own path, and we'll all be proud of you for it. Tell us some of the things that you're doing on the WMAs right now, and what folks might not know about Uchee or North Chick.
Yeah, we're really excited about a lot of the things we've got planned. One of the main things that we've got coming that we're looking forward to is burning, where you've got a lot of early successional oak savanna habitat that we're really trying to manage for small game. And when you do that, not only does it benefit small game, but it also benefits the big game, the turkey, and stuff like pollinators and neotropical migrant songbirds. Utilize those areas as well. So it seems to be when you help one thing, it just it's got a snowball effect. So, Mother Nature, if she lets us, we're going to try to burn this fall if it's dry enough. So we've got about 200 or 300 acres burning that we need to get accomplished. And also, we're looking at a small area getting started early next year, a pine stand that's 15, 20 years old that we're planning on thinning that and getting that started as a pine savanna as well. So we're looking at some habitat expansion work in the near future.
What are some things folks don't know about those areas?
Well, I'll tell you, Uchee is known on the eastern side of the state as a big deer area, but really, there's a lot of things that go into that folks don't realize is, it's a waterfowl refuge, and we're one of the few waterfowl refuges on this side of the state. And so we've got 200-300 acres that we manage intensively for waterfowl habitat for those migrating birds that come through.
Yeah,
growing up, I was going to say, it's just down the road from me, really, where I grew up. But I had private land to hunt, and I never got out to UT. But there's a lot of opportunity there.
There's a lot, sure enough. We've got 2,500 acres there at UT, and it's a special place. We've got 3 different habitat types there, with the forest habitat, the grassland habitat, and the wetland habitat. So it's you've got your hands full. At the same time, it's one of the unique areas where you get to do all 3, and many places aren't like that. It's just a special place, and I'm really excited to be able to get some work done.
Got a good crew down there, too.
Oh, sure do. Yeah, the best.
Yeah, Robert and I crossed paths. I think the last time was at Prentice Cooper. You were down there with students. And
we just happened to be doing our wildland fire certification. So if you need line dug,
there we go.
Strong backs. There you go.
I think it's awesome that kids, freshmen, sophomores can jump in and volunteer this early, because they always say, yes, somebody, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? And it's volunteering and putting your face in front of everybody, and that's how people, get into those positions, because it's tough to get in the agency. There's not as many positions that open up, and the more your face is there, the better.
And it's all about experience as well. And when people are reviewing resumes, reviewing applications, they're looking, what can you do? And a lot of those things they want you to be able to do, we don't teach in the classroom. Nobody teaches in the classroom. But it's not just that. It's just, how do you get that experience? Well, yeah, you can volunteer. We also have internships here. And those interns that I hire work for the U.S. Forest Service. And they gain certifications with that. One of them being wildland fire certification. I include wildland fire certification in my intro to FWF class now. And so that's something they can put on a resume. And actually, they can get a job just doing that if they want to. I had a student that had that certification, graduated from me, getting ready to start at UT. He spent the summer in South Dakota on a wildland fire crew.
That's very cool.
He traveled all over the West. So it's all about those things outside the classroom that make us special in that way. It's and they're just fun. It's just fun to do.
So I know a little bit about both of you, but in your spare time, obviously you love what you do for a living and you're very involved, but in your spare time, what would you be out there doing, Brian?
Today, it's a little windy outside, but the family's really gotten into kayaking, and I know previous guests, you guys have talked about that, and that's one of the things that we really enjoy doing as a family activity now, is we're getting out and getting adventurous and checking out some new waters and things of that nature.
Very cool.
It's still a good time to do that. The temperatures it's a little cooler, but it's still a good time to be fishing.
Yep.
And Robert, I know your kids are fantastic. I say kids, they're not anymore; they're adults.
They're adults, yeah.
But I know your kids.
And my daughter really loves to deer hunt, so we'll be spending a lot more time deer hunting. My son loves to fish and to waterfowl hunt. So at that last last wildcast, the gentleman with the creek fishing, he wanted to know immediately who it was, and he's going to watch it, and he'll be out there creeking and all kinds of stuff. But he likes to waterfowl hunt too. He doesn't like to sit still. So we're deer hunting, go on some duck hunts, fishing. I used to hike a lot. My wife said no more of that. Her legs aren't long enough to keep up with me. So. But I love to be outdoors. My mother makes fun of me. I cannot sit still. I can't do it. I've got to be doing something. So
there's a lot to do out there.
Right.
A lot to do.
Well, we've touched on UT, but tell us about the North Chick too, Brian. What's going on there?
Okay.
Or North Chickamauga, I guess.
Yeah, we say North Chicken. It's North Chickamauga.
Yeah, people's going to say, where's that? Is that a little subunit? But, we've got this time of year, we're getting geared up and getting ready for small game seasons. No squirrel season's underway. We've got bow hunting going on down there. It's a bow hunting areas only down there because it's kind of in an urban environment and it's kind of spread out into smaller subunits. But our guys are down there right now working real hard, getting the areas ready. The early successional habitat, we're maintaining that and getting it ready for folks to small game hunt. And we do have some waterfowl areas down there too, along that North Chickamauga Creek going up into Soddy Daisy. So those areas should be good if the ducks come. So those are, and those are some gem little places that a lot of folks don't know about. But if you get on that map and look, there's 2 or 3 little areas there, and you can get in there and have a really good time.
Yeah, we mentioned it on our last show, but the interactive map on our website, tnwildlife.org, just go there and, you can zoom in on these properties and see, what all is available and click regulations and see what kind of seasons are open and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we always tell folks reach out to us. they can reach any of us to ask what's going on, if there's any special licensing or that kind of thing, quota hunts.
Definitely.
One major problem that we're facing down there is invasive species, and lots of times when you say that word, you're thinking about the Asian carp. They're jumping out and hitting folks. But the invasive species that I'm having to deal with now are Bradford pears.
Oh wow!
And so they're spreading like wildfire because we're in neighborhoods down there, adjoining neighborhoods, and a lot of folks have those as ornamental trees. And when they pollinate, they don't care where they go, and so it's a constant battle with those and privet.
Wow.
There's another invasive species type tree of heaven that we're and it's an ongoing thing. And in that urban environment, normally we would use prescribed fire like Robert was talking about, but it's hard to get that accomplished in there. There's just so many safety concerns that we're just kind of having to do it the old-fashioned way and use a tractor and bush hog. So it can get tedious at times, but we're fighting the good fight.
Well, you talk about an urban area. Tell us where that is exactly.
It's in Hickson. If you'll look,
Okay.
We've got several areas right along. The state was managed to pick up about another 2,500 acres down there along that North Chickamauga Creek corridor through Hickson and Soddy Daisy.
Gotcha.
So we've got several tracts of land right on the creek.
Yeah, why is that so important?
Oh man, it's a great because loss of hunting opportunities for folks. We still have a lot of folks in that area that enjoy the outdoors, and this is some of those areas that are close to home that provides them opportunity to go out and enjoy and have maintain those hunting traditions.
It sounds like some good fishing access too, maybe.
It sure is. I actually had a guy call a couple of weeks ago and wanted to know if he could, come through there and fish. I said, absolutely, come on.
Oh, that's awesome. Beautiful area too.
Yeah. What kind of permits would be required to access that property if you're fishing? Would you need a WMA permit to get?
Actually, you wouldn't to fish, but
Okay.
if you were going down there to hunt, you would need your WMA permits for that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, people are always asking, what do I need to go on this property or that property? So it's always good to check your guide.
Yep, check the guide.
There's certain permits you need to access WMAs, and sometimes you may not need it to go fishing, but you
Right.
need it to be hunting and things. So always check your guide, tnwildlife.org for that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful area. Though both of them it's gorgeous.
So, Robert, tell us some more about what's going on here at Cleveland State with your program. What are you getting into?
Okay.
The
one that ties into what he was just talking about is we started something new this year. We partnered with Delta Waterfowl, and TWRA also partnered with Delta Waterfowl for Delta Hunting University. So I have a group of students who have never hunted before or have hunted very little that we applied for crane permits. Some of them drew, some of them did not. But either way, those drew crane permits, they're setting them up with a guide to take them on a crane hunt.
Great.
Helping cover the cost of licenses and everything like that. So it really shouldn't cost the students much. Going to supply them with all their equipment and everything.
Awesome.
Those that didn't draw a permit will do a duck hunt. And they have mentors for that as well. That's something we're working with, and that season's coming up pretty quick. So we're going to be moving on that. But that's just one thing we've started here recently because, if you're going into this field, even if you don't hunt or fish now, you should understand you're working with hunters and fishermen. You should understand what it's all about, even if you don't pursue it after that. So we're trying to give them that opportunity. The SWAT program, the volunteering, we're really kicking off right now. We did the Hunt for Warriors Enterprise South last month.
Yeah.
This weekend we'll be doing the opening day of muzzleloader at 3 checking stations around. Then we'll have an open day of gun. Then in December we have the Hunt for Warriors at Fall Creek Falls. We'll be working all of those. I'm trying to think what else we have going on. What's breaking my heart is we usually do Crane Festival.
Well, that was going to be my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I know Mimi loves the help that she gets from you on that. And
For sure.
well, tell us how y'all work together.
I'm fortunate, in my position with the state. I travel 24 counties, and that's how Robert and I met at one of the hunts. And he had students there. They help gut deer and pull deer out of the woods, and are just helpful. I mean, they literally, the students line up to help us with everything. They jump to it when we need help. That's why I say thanks so much. But that's how we originally met. And I oversee the Sandhill Crane Festival, which unfortunately was canceled for this year due to COVID. Reached out to Robert to let him know, but his students are there and they help in multiple capacities over that weekend. They're helping with bird identification. They're in the children's room to help kids with crafts. They help us move everything. There's a lot of setup for that event, and they help us move everything to and from.
And it draws alumni and my family. I mean, my whole family goes down for it. They look forward to that every year. Then I have alumni that have already graduated. Are like, hey, can I come back? Can I bring my kids and all that? So it's really grown. I have no trouble getting help for that event. Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
I think we even had one student dressed up in a crane.
They did.
Crane costume.
Oh yeah, last year. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, that's a huge draw for this area for sure. I mean, everybody loves to go watch the cranes and enjoy the festival and get involved with all that kind of stuff. And this year, like you said, because of COVID, we can't do it. What's coming down the pike this year? You want to kind of give everybody an idea of what's going to happen?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't be together, and socially distanced, but we are going to do some online things. We have great partners for that festival, such as the International Crane Foundation, and they're joining us, the American Eagle Foundation. I mean, such great support throughout that weekend and more. So we'll be doing some online presentations.
Virtual.
Some virtual presentations are coming up that weekend. We'll probably go live from the refuge and a few other places that we know cranes are sitting down.
That'll be fun.
We really encourage folks to look at eBirds or Tennessee birding trails. Look at that Tennessee birding trail and see where those birds are dropping down, and go again, this is a time we can be outside. Just go get outside. If you're a hunter, you're watching for cranes, but if you're a bird watcher, you're watching for cranes and all the other the migrant birds that are coming through, golden eagles, for example.
Yeah.
So we see a lot more than just cranes every year at the festival on the refuge. So folks are still invited to the refuge, but there's a lot of other places they can go to bird watch.
That was going to be one of my questions. Can they go to the refuge and watch birds even though the festival's not happening?
The gazebo viewing area will be open. Of course, we want to maintain social distancing and all the CDC requirements. But if folks go to Tennessee birding trails, they can find out what's being seen across the state. And they might not have to go so far from home to see these great birds. They might be able to see them out there, in their own county.
Yeah. I know.
We're in the crane zone here, so.
Yeah, growing up in this area, we had cranes in our pasture fields all the time.
It's called the crane zone for a reason.
Yeah.
And Brian, you said something that made me laugh. You talked about if the ducks show up, and we always remind folks like, if we could only control the weather and birds, we'd be in good shape. But
I heard my first cranes yesterday.
Oh,
Did you?
so
I haven't heard
there
any
you
yet.
So you want to let everybody know what day it is, November 2nd.
Yep.
If you're watching this show, it's probably a little bit later than we recorded it. But yeah, so birds are already flying over.
Yes.
Yeah. And we are in that crane zone. Robert, you mentioned, it's a great place, but you have to be drawn for the hunts,
right.
and there are statewide tags. But keep an eye on the regulations. Know where you're hunting. Reach out to us if you have questions.
Yeah, definitely.
TNWildlife.org and check the hunting guide.
Check that out.
Anything, Brian, that you would add that people should know if they're visiting those two locations? Any common questions that you get that you might want to cover there?
Yeah, when you come to these areas, cranes aren't going to be the only, birds that are going to be there that's going to be neat to see. There's also going to be some whooping cranes from time to time. We've got a population now of white pelicans. You can see those on the Hiwassee Refuge. When you drive across the Highway 58 bridge, if you want to get on Google Maps and check that out, lots of times you're going to see them loafing out on those mud flats once the water's down, and that's a really neat sight. And those birds have just been coming in the last 5 to 10 years. So
it's a big animal too.
Yeah, they're really big, and you're just looking like, what is that? And they're just really huge and they're really neat. And you would not ever think that pelicans would be in East Tennessee, but here they are. We're not in Florida or we're not in Texas, but we've got pelicans now. And like you said, we've got golden eagles, bald eagles. You never know what you're going to see. So I urge folks to get out and look. Yeah. And buy a field guide, check it out, and start learning some birds because they're really neat.
Do you ever have folks just come to Wildlife Watch down on Uchee? Or?
Oh, yes. And right now we've got some neotropical migrant songbirds coming through, a lot of species of warblers, and just everything is coming through right now. As a matter of fact, I keep my office door open because I've got a grove of trees out by my office. And, of the mornings, 9, 10 o'clock, there'll be 15, 20 different species. And, when you're going through emails and phone calls, it's kind of a nice break.
That's one thing we should mention. All of us are hunters and anglers, but we're also wildlife watchers.
Yeah.
And if you look in the hunting guide, you can find those places.
And our website too. I mean, it's
on the maps page.
Yeah, there's a lot of places to go view. If you go to our wildlife section and start looking at our birds, it'll tell you some good places to go see these different birds too.
Yeah.
So,
before our time ends, Robert, if folks are interested in the program, what would be the first thing that you would encourage people to do?
I can give you contact information for me. Check our website, the Cleveland State Community College website. They can email me directly through that website. Go on, check us out on Facebook. If you follow along with Tennessee Wildlife Federation at all, you see that I won a little award there this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Community Colleges of Appalachia recognized us this year as the Outstanding Instructional Program for the Appalachian region as well. So we've been in the news. If you Google search us, you're going to find tons and tons of stuff about us. But can I give them my email?
Sure.
If they want to get directly in touch with me, it's rbrewer, BREWER, at clevelandstatecc.edu. And it's right here on my hip all the time. I think I only have like 3,000 unread ones right now, but I'll get to you. But I'm pretty quick to respond to emails. But if there's anybody out there that's thinking about going into this field, and they can ask people with Forest Service, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, Tennessee State Parks, we're the place to start. You can start here for free. Your first 2 years, get your first 2 years free. You get all kinds of experience. I'm not going to kid you. It can be tough, but you'll find that out in your first year, not your junior year. So.
Well, and it's better to find out if it's for you up front
Absolutely.
than it is to go 4 years and decide you might want to be a librarian.
Exactly.
That's a big jump.
You read about animals.
Oh, okay, that's right. Brian, any tips you want to give these students behind us?
Man, I'll tell you what, Robert is on the right track here. I wish they would have had that when I was going through school. Like he said, I was a senior in college before I got to do any of the things that they're getting to do here.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful, and it's glad to see. I'm glad to see these local guys really getting an opportunity to get some hands-on experience before you get into those upper level areas and things. And I look forward to working with those guys some this hunting season and really, getting their hands dirty.
Awesome.
Thank you both.
Yes.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all. And thank you to Cleveland State for letting us be here and use the facilities. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time on Tennessee Wildcast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.